Good evening. My name is Mayor Mike Wickers, and this is the business meeting for the Cottonwood Heights City Council for September 6th, 2022. We'll begin this evening. I've asked our Finance and Administrative Services Director, Scott Jurgis, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. That work? Hello.
Must still be back.
Yep.
Hello.
Okay, well, you might have to hear me say everything twice. Right, so I apologize in advance that we're having technical difficulties. Before we get to our item 4, which is our citizen comment period, we get the opportunity this evening to introduce some of our new police officers. So I'm going to have our police chief, Robbie Russo, come up and lead this for us.
Thank you, Mayor Council. This was, it's always a privilege to do this. And the new officers are part of our community and vital part of the city. So we like to introduce them to you. And so you can have an opportunity to get to know them and see them and learn a little bit about them. We've had 4 since we've last done this, but 2 of them you've known before, Steve Rowland and Blake Houston, who worked in ordinance and code enforcement. So you already knew them and they are now functioning as police officers, but there are 2 that you haven't met, and I'll call them up, and I see that they're here with their wives. And I think one just walked out with a new baby issue. I called him to, I think, to offer him a job, and I hear, and it was, yeah, he was burping the new baby. So I'm glad that he's takes an active role in that as a dad. But Alec Novakovic and Evan Huxley, come on up. You can bring your wives with you. I usually do this, and I hand the spouses a book. I will get it to you. It's titled that, you know, I love a police officer because of the things that we see and that we do, and the things that we call upon them to interact with. So the officers and the men or women that you see before you tonight are not usually the same ones that we spit out at the other end of the journey, because simply they're life-changing events. It's a very difficult job. But I'm glad that they're here with us. We're very lucky to have them. They're both very special people, and I'll tell you a little bit about them, and then I'll give them a second to speak to you, and I'm sure they'll answer any questions that you have. So Alec, his family is from Bosnia. I think you were actually born in Bosnia, correct? And his family immigrated to the United States via Germany. I have that correct. He, as I remember, the only thing he knew about the United States was he could say Michael Jordan. That was his total reference of the United States. But he and his lovely wife are present, and I've got a chance to meet her as well. And they're a lovely family. And he just graduated from the academy and is now in our field training, our FTO process. And I'm sure that he'll be very successful and be a great addition to the city and represent as well. Also present is Evan Huxley. Evan is just starting the academy. I think he's a week in, 2 weeks in, 3 weeks in. Holy cow, it's been a long time. So we interviewed a lot of candidates, and every once in a while, one will come through, and it's, you know, they're doing pretty well. And then there's one that's clearly a shining star above the rest. And that would be Evan, and he distinguished himself, and he had the character and all the tools that I think would make him a very valuable asset to us. He came to us from a different career line. He came to us he had a record contract. I think you probably heard me mention it before. And the funniest part was there's a very famous artist in the city that I would text his family about him, and they said, a singing cop. Robbie, he doesn't want this lifestyle. You better hire him, save him from himself. But I've listened to his stuff. He's actually very talented, and So I'm glad that he's decided to become part of the Cottonwood Heights family. So with that, Alec, would you introduce your wife? And I appreciate, by the way, the fellow officers in the back coming to support them. Come on up. He wasn't expecting to speak.
I was not.
Otherwise, he might not have come, so we didn't do it.
I almost put myself on a call.
Just tell them about yourself and family.
All right. So, like the chief said, me and my wife, we were both born in Yugoslavia just prior to the war. At the war, our families had the opportunity to go to the United States. So my family went through Germany, and then we came over here. We spent 1 year in Germany. Like I told the chief when I interviewed, how we ended up in Salt Lake City was it was the only city that my parents had not heard of when they gave them the option to come to the States. So every other city they had heard of, they selected Salt Lake City. Like you said, I remember they don't have too many memories on the airplane. We got here on my 6th birthday on the day. Like I told them, I only knew 2 things about the United States, and that was pretty much Michael Jordan and McDonald's. So when we flew through Chicago, I remember flying through Chicago, and I remember asking my dad, "Does Michael Jordan?" And then when we got to Utah, I remember seeing a McDonald's, and then everything was good after that. So I've been in law enforcement since I was 21. I always had an interest in that. I was a dispatcher and a dispatch supervisor for the last 12 years. Decided to go to the academy, switch it up a little bit. My wife was not too thrilled at first, but now she likes it, I hope. And chief gave me an opportunity here. We always loved Cottonwood Heights. We spent a lot of time in Cottonwood Heights. And maybe one day, hopefully, if the market allows, buy a house in Cottonwood Heights, but we'll see.
Any questions? He is bilingual. This is wonderful. It's important to keep record. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
You promised to take care of.
Oh, yeah, I know. Thank you.
Your wife had to make another exit, poor thing.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Oh, we've all been through this, and so we.
So my name is Evan Hawksley. As Chief Russo indicated, I'm in week 3 of SFO. I'll graduate Leo December 8th. Very, very excited. This is my wife, Haley. She's a school teacher, teaching kindergarten this year. And Logan is our baby boy. He's 8 weeks old. So suffice to say, we don't get very much sleep. But so I grew up in Los Angeles. As Chief Russo indicated, I was in the music industry. I was signed to Universal Music Group. That's what I wanted to do when I was younger. I was raised primarily by my grandfather, who was Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. At some point in my life, I decided that I wanted to join the military, so I was in the Army for 4 years. I went through their medic to nursing program, so I got my LVN license, and then realized I wanted to go to school and get out of California. So I went to Utah State. That's where I met my wife, and studied finance. I worked at University Growth Fund in Salt Lake City, student-led venture capital fund. And realized that looking back at my life, I'd really enjoyed being in the military, really more than anything else, and really enjoyed the lessons I'd learned from my grandfather, and kind of always knew deep down that I'd want to pursue a career in law enforcement. And so I discussed it with my wife, and we decided that now would be a good time. And so I'm very thankful and honored to be here in front of you all. This is really a great city. Chief Russo and everyone have been very helpful to me in getting me here. So we're very thankful and very happy to be able to serve the city.
Thank you.
So-
Thank you.
So I was born in Lancaster,
Mm.
and I lived in Burbank for most of my teenage years. My mom remarried and they lived in Sherman Oaks. And so I spent some time there as well. Basically those three cities. Oh, great. Yeah. So I'm familiar with that area as well. Yeah.
Officer, Chief has told us that you might be able to sing a little something for us. No, I wouldn't do that to you. But he did send me your YouTube information, so I'll listen to that shortly after this meeting.
Thank you.
But it's great to have you here, and thanks for bringing your wives too.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, the star on the show keeps leaving, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
no, you could sing, you can do medical, you could, law enforcement, you just kind of like jack of all trades. That's awesome.
Yeah, I got lucky with music, and really enjoyed learning medicine, and I think it'll help. Hopefully, we don't have to use everything that I learned, but I'll have that in my back pocket.
Get Chief Pilgrim to cover his ears and I'll say, well, the police usually get there a little bit before the paramedics, so you never.
Well, one of my most favorite things about tonight is both of you having your wives here, because the culture that Chief Russo has created, if there's a word to describe it, it's family. And not only are you a part of a family and being in the Cottonwood Heights Police, but you're a part of the family of our city and of this council and staff. And we 100% support you, are grateful for your service and for your willingness to protect us and our residents, and for your wives for supporting you. So with that, we will say thank you and welcome, and we look forward to getting to know you better.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So item 4 on our agenda this evening is a citizen comment period. I only have 2 comment cards tonight, and I'll just ask you as you come up if you'll state your name clearly into the microphone, and then please keep your comments civil, and we're happy to have you here tonight. So the first person that we'd like to invite up is Chanel Stewart. Hi,
Hello,
Chanel.
my name is Chanel. I have 2 things. One really quick. I want to give a huge arm of gratitude to UFA, United Fire Department of Cottonwood Heights. About a month ago, I was able to help an 89-year-old man who fell on his head, and they got there very quickly and was able to help him get the real medical need that I didn't have. They deserve more time than that, but I have a little bit bigger issue. Tonight, I represent about 400 residents of District 3. Our power has gone out almost every other night for the last 8 days. And you all have been here in this weather for that time. That is very hot, triple digits. I spent over an hour today on hold with Rocky Mountain Power, only to get no response, no real issue, or no real answer for what the issue is. So I'm asking the city to help us out, because I'm not the only one. It is hot. I'm worried about needing to throw out food, and I would like some help because I have not been able to get that. Is that something that the city can help with?
Thank you, Chanel. I really appreciate you coming. Tim, go ahead real quick.
Absolutely. We will make a call tomorrow. We have a contact at Rocky Mountain Power, and we'll find out what's going on and why this is occurring and get back with you.
Can I ask you some specifics? Is it certain times of the day that this is happening?
It started, the first 2 nights were the middle of the night. When it came back on is when it woke me up, so I didn't know at first. The next 3 nights were around 10:30 p.m. 2 of those times, the latter of those 2 times, I heard a boom, which was the transformer. It went out last night and again, heard the boom. And then today it did go out this afternoon in the middle of the heat. I was not home at that time, but my neighbors, we've all been discussing this, did experience it going out. I don't know if it was a transformer or not. Again, Rocky Mountain Power was not able to give me an answer. And I asked them if it was the transformer. They said likely that was what it was. I was like, is it the same one every time? They couldn't tell me that. And I didn't really get anywhere.
Well, thank you. I'm going to ask you to come and put some contact information on this card so we can contact you tomorrow, if that's
Yep.
okay. But thank you. I really appreciate you coming, and that's about as serious an issue as, yeah, we can address. So thank you. So next up, we'd like to invite Vera Nguyen. Hi, Vera.
Hi, good evening, council members. I appreciate the few minutes you have allotted me to say a few things. I've lived here for 59 years since ever we were married. So I saw now Cottonwood Heights go up from infancy. And we have grown a great deal, and we had some very nice support from the police department from time to time in regards to the speed on Kings Hill Drive, which is in the subdivision east of here. They were very kind to us to even put meters down. And we as citizens sat in side streets to watch what the cars will do. The minute they see the meter, they slammed on their brakes and everything stopped. So they passed the meter and then they sped back up. I myself pass Kings Hill Drive about 2 to 3 times a day to assist a sick neighbor. Nobody will stop for me, which is okay. I can wait. But our biggest concern is we have children. We have young children on Kings Hill Drive, Kings Cove Drive. And we were wondering how the council members feel about allotting speed bumps like it has been allotted on top of the World Drive, which is fairly parallel from Kings Hill Drive. We were wondering if we could solicit your help. We need something done. People speed up and down the hill. When the meter is there, everything stops and it looks great. But when the meters go away, everybody goes back to their old way, and wondering what your suggestion would be other than speed bumps.
Excuse me. Thank you, Vera. We appreciate, first off, you coming, and we understand 100% the seriousness of speed and cars, especially within our neighborhoods. So this will be something that we will talk about as a council and staff, and we will, it looks like I do have your contact information on the card, so we will be in touch with you to discuss options. Is that okay?
Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It was nice to come today.
Thank you, Vera.
Thank you.
Okay, I don't see any hands up online. So with that, I will go ahead and, oh, go ahead. Nicole. Hi, Nicole. This is a former member of our city council, if you don't know that.
Yeah, Nicole Omer, 2085 East La Cresta Drive. Thank you for letting me speak. I did not sign up in advance, so I will know next time. But I have some comments about the general plan that I wanted to share with you. So I feel strongly about the general plan revision. I think a wise, well thought through revision will have a significant impact on our city and vice versa as well. And so specifically today, I wanted to provide some comments on the aspects of the general plan that will affect land development and zoning. Most areas of Cottonwood Heights were built before the city was incorporated. And so most of our zoning and land development ordinances are outdated. And this especially affects single family residents, and they don't necessarily receive a lot of attention because there's they're small, right? They're one individual family here and there, even though collectively they make up most of Cottonwood Heights. And owners face significant challenges in making structural amendments to their properties. I recently went through this myself. I rebuilt my home on La Cresta Drive, just a few blocks from Councilman Newell and Mayor Wickers. And it took years to get to a zoning plan that actually was something I felt I could live in and that actually, met the zoning requirements, that the city would consider. I also had to expend significant financial resources just to get, to that approved zoning before I even started construction. So that being said, as well as my experience in local government showed me that, we need to consider serious changes to that zone in our city. And I would strongly recommend that we incorporate that into the upcoming town halls that I just heard you discussing that will be taking place in each district. I would love to see some kind of tiered zoning that's available for single family residences, right? So for example, ADUs are something that we know will help with our moderate housing income shortages, but those are difficult to construct when you have zoning that is outdated on almost every single family lot. And so if that's something we really want to encourage, we need to amend, things from the top. Also, if we want to consider like multifamily homes, right? I mean, there's some large lots in Cottonwood Heights. And if we want to make those lots available also for multifamily units, we need to consider different zoning for those single family zones that we currently have. So I'd love to see examples of that kind of zoning incorporated into the town halls, not just those examples that are targeted towards mixed use or, more commercial uses. So I would put that to you for your consideration and encourage you to think about that. I'll just quickly add too that I really support the removal of those ridiculous and ineffective stop signs in our neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. I appreciate you coming in and saying that. I will mention to anyone here and listening that we started a general plan update process a few months ago, and we kind of took a couple steps back in the last month or so and said, hey, we're gonna go a little bit slower. We're gonna listen better. We're gonna have some town halls. We really want to hear from our residents what they think. And so when you come and tell us your thoughts, Nicole, it matters. So we're grateful for you coming today. So with that, this time I will close the citizen comment period. So we have 4 legislative items before us this evening, and we will begin with item 5.1, which is consideration of resolution 2022-45, awarding a retiring police officer his badge and approving his purchase of a police firearm. We did have the opportunity to discuss this item earlier in our work session. Are there any other questions or comments from the council? Hearing none, at this point, I will entertain a motion to approve resolution 2022-45.
I'll make that motion to approve resolution 2022-45.
And I'll second that, Mayor.
There's a motion to approve from Councilmember Newell and a second from Councilmember Peterson. Any other questions or comments? We'll now call for the vote. Councilmember Peterson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bracken,
Yes.
Councilmember Newell,
Yes.
Councilmember Burrell.
Yes.
And I will vote yes. Okay, item 5.2 is consideration of resolution 2022-46, approving entry into a consulting agreement for an update of the moderate income affordable housing plan. We also had the opportunity to discuss this item earlier in our work session. Any other questions or comments from the council?
I would move that we approve resolution 2022-46. This is data that the state want from us each year, and this will get it so that we're in compliance with the statute.
I move that we approve. I second it.
Thank you.
Sorry.
We have a motion to approve from Councilmember Bracken and a second from Councilmember Peterson. Questions or comments? So I will now call for the vote. Councilmember Bracken,
Yes.
Councilmember Newell,
Yes.
Councilmember Burrell,
Yes.
Councilmember Peterson.
Yes.
I will vote. Next, we have item 5.3, consideration of resolution 2022-47, declaring certain property surplus. We also had the opportunity to discuss this item in our work session. Any other questions or comments before we vote on this item? So at this point, I will entertain a motion to approve resolution 2022-47.
I move that we approve, Mayor.
I'll second.
Motion to approve from Councilmember Peterson and a second from Councilmember Newell. Final questions or comments? I'll now call for the vote. Councilmember Newell,
Yes.
Councilmember Burrell,
Yes.
Councilmember Peterson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bracken,
Yes.
and I will vote yes. Our last legislative item for today is consideration of resolution 2022-48, consenting to an appointment to the Parks, Trails, and Open Space Committee. Tim, do you want to go ahead and give us a little bit of background?
Yes, you're considering Aline Longstaff to be on the Parks, Trails, and Open Space Committee. I had the opportunity to interview her along with Mike Johnson. We both interviewed her and feels that she will really be a great addition. She's from District 2. She lives in District 2. She has a passion about parks, trails, and open space, especially biking and trails and things such as that. So we feel that she'll be a great addition. There's 15 members of this committee that can be appointed. This is the 14th. We have a good representation of all of the districts. And with her in District 2, it would bring District 2 up to a good place. We just need to appoint one more, and that most likely needs to come from District 3, because that's where we are down 1 or 2. So anyway, I'm recommending approval of Aline and think she'll be a great addition.
Thank you, Tim. Any other questions or comments on this, council? Okay, I will entertain a motion to approve resolution 2022-48.
So moved.
I will second that.
Motion to approve from Councilmember Bracken and a second from Councilmember Burrell. Final questions, comments? Hearing none, I will now call for the vote. Councilmember Burrell,
Yes.
Councilmember Peterson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bracken,
Yes.
Councilmember Newell,
Yes.
and I will vote yes. Okay, the last item for this evening is just approval of our consent calendar, which are the minutes for our meetings on August 16th. Can I get a motion to approve these minutes?
I'll make that motion to approve the minutes from our last council meeting.
I'll second that, Mayor.
Motion to approve from Councilmember Newell and a second from Councilmember Peterson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that's it. That concludes the items on tonight's agenda. Unless, Mike, you have anything else? No? Okay. Okay. Could I get a motion to adjourn?
I will motion to adjourn our meeting.
I second that.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you.